Hey everybody, welcome to the Wise Podcast. My name is Adam McLean. This week we're wrapping up our series with Jay Delp. This week he's talking about getting those videos that you've created, putting them up on YouTube.
Today I'd like to answer a question that comes up very frequently when we talk about using video in youth ministry, and that is how do I get my videos, how do I prepare my videos for YouTube and other video sharing sites, whether it's Facebook or the other popular sites. Well, a couple tips to keep in mind. When you start talking about preparing video, you're talking about compressing video. That means you need to take the video clip that you edited perhaps in Adobe Premiere or Windows Movie Maker or iMovie on a Mac. You need to prepare that video, you need to transform it, compress it, honey I shrunk the video kind of thing, so that YouTube can handle it. And one of the things you want to do is give YouTube the best quality video you can without exceeding their parameters. And right now, their parameters, their limits for videos that you upload cannot be longer than 10 minutes, and it can't be larger than 1 gigabyte in file size. So here's what I do. I usually take the video that I've been editing, in my case on a PC, in the AVI file format, and I will compress it into Windows Movie Video, WMV, or into a one solid AVI file. Now AVI is really high quality, but it's really big file size. Every 5 minutes of video in the AVI file format will be 1 gig file size. So you can tell that it's really large. Most of the time you want to compress it to a high quality WMV, maybe 320 by 240 as far as the resolution. 30 frames or even 15 frames per second is a good way to keep the file size down. And experiment with short little clips first, like 10-second clips. Put that on YouTube and see what it looks like. And if it's not looking very good, increase the quality of your initial video compression on your entire video program or another test experiment and put it on YouTube. But give YouTube the best quality video you can, because they're going to turn around and compress every video that's uploaded to YouTube into a flash file. And one of the cardinal rules of compressing video is to never compress an already compressed video. But unfortunately, that's what we have to do in order to get our videos onto YouTube. But if we prepare our videos in a way that keeps the video quality as high as possible without exceeding YouTube's limitations, our videos won't look quite as bad when the hundreds of millions of people click on your video to watch it on YouTube. So those are some tips that hopefully can help make your YouTube experience as satisfying as possible and your videos as enjoyable as possible.
Next up on the podcast, we have Marco. He's in week 3 of his series from Proverbs.
Hey, Marco here, bringing you part 3 of our 4-part devotional from the book of Proverbs. We've done this for a couple weeks so far, looking at this great little passage from the book of Proverbs. Let me read it to you right now. It's Proverbs chapter 30, verses 24 through 28. 4 things on earth are small, yet they are extremely wise. Ants are creatures of little strength, yet they store up their food in the summer. Conies are creatures of little power, yet they make their home in the crags. Locusts have no king, yet they advance together in ranks. And lizards can be caught with the hand, yet is found in the king's palace. And what we've said in the previous 2 weeks still holds true, and that this is a passage that I think is wonderful little word pictures for our own lives, for our own understanding of how we can grow in wisdom. But this is also such a fun passage to use with teenagers. So I invite you to rip this off, rip it off, right, from me, right? It's actually in Scripture, so, you're ripping it off from Scripture, which is exactly what we want to do. So talk about this stuff with your junior hires and high schoolers. It's just a great application for their lives because it's talking about these 4 little, powerless, squishable, helpless things that wouldn't seem to be heroes of the faith or object lessons of strength, and yet here they are used in Scripture to define wisdom, to give us pictures of wisdom. Talked about the ants and how their strength, the Scripture says, is that they store up food in the summer. They actually make decisions today with the future in mind. Such a critical part of having wisdom. And then the conies that have little power but make their homes in the crags, they understand that their safety is in the rock. They don't have natural defense systems, and so they stay close to their protective environment of their rocks. And you and I and our students need to stay closely connected to the rock that is Jesus Christ if we want to have that place of security in our lives. And today we want to look briefly at the locusts. It says, the locusts have no king, and yet they advance together in ranks. This is a really subversive little sentence. It's not even a sentence because it has semicolons before and after it. So it's a really subversive little bit of a sentence because they're being praised for their wisdom, and it says that they don't even have a leader. There's a couple implications for us here that I think are great. One is sometimes we just put way too much stock in being a leader or following a leader. And we don't put enough stock in the spiritual importance of good community. Now we know about, we want to have community in our youth groups and we want to foster relationships. But in this passage, the locusts are praised for their wisdom, or used as a word picture for wisdom, because they understand the importance of working together, of being in community. And of course, locusts are just grasshoppers, but they have this like metamorphosis that takes place when they're in large numbers, that they become these ravenous, crazy, wild creatures that can do all kinds of world-changing events. In this case, of course, it's negative, and hopefully us being in community isn't negative repercussions. But the strength of the locust is in their understanding, if we can put it that way, of community. And you and I, if we're going to survive in youth ministry, we can't be lone rangers. We have to have a community of fellow youth workers gathering around us who are sharing our vision and our pain and our mission and our calling, sharing our stories together, communally discerning what God is calling us to in our ministry. We have to have community with youth workers in other churches, and we have to help our teenagers understand the critical nature of being in close community, in life-giving community with other followers of Jesus Christ, if we're going to survive in this really tough world that we live in. That's our thought for today. Next week, we're going to come back and talk about the final little smart animal, the lizard.
Hey, thanks for watching the show this week. As always, I want to invite you to connect with me. You can send me an email to adam@youthspecialties.com, or look me up on Facebook or MySpace or Twitter or anything else that you use to connect with people. We're there. You can connect with us. Just like we say every week, we want you to know that your ministry matters. We know you don't hear it enough, and we want you to hear it from us, from our heart to yours, that your ministry matters. It matters to the parents, it matters to the students, it matters to everybody in your church, but most importantly, it matters to the heart of God. Thanks for what you do, and we'll catch you next week.